Hi. I had received so many responses to my contemporary Christian music video that I wanted to post a follow-up on that. Today I wanted to do something a little different, though. What I wanted to do is go directly to the source. What I wanted to look at was the basic character and philosophy behind rock and roll music in general. What I want to look at is actually some quotes given by rock and roll performers themselves and what they say about the music. Now, not just the words, but even the style and the attitude behind it, and see what it is in their own words and see what we can ascertain from it. So these are going to actually be quotes from rock and roll performers and those in the music industry themselves. First off, rock is the total celebration of the physical. That was said by Ted Nugent. That's what rock is all about. Sex with a 100 megaton bomb, the beat. Gene Simmons of course the rock group Kiss. Rock and roll is all sex, 100% sex. Debbie Harry of the group Blondie. Rock and roll is more than just music. It's the energy center of a new culture and youth revolution. That's an advertisement for Rolling Stones magazine. Pop music is still the mass medium for conditioning the way people think. Spoken by Graham Nash of Crosby, Stills and Nash. Rock and roll doesn't glorify God. You can't drink out of God's cup and the devil's cup at the same time. I was one of the pioneers of that music, one of the builders. I know what the blocks are made of because I built them. That was spoken by Little Richard. Rock and roll is 99% sex. John Oates of the rock group Hall & Oates. Listen, rock and roll ain't church. It's nasty business. You gotta be nasty too. If you're goody-goody, you can't sing or play it. Lita Ford of the heavy metal group of the Runaways. Rock music is sex. The big beat matches the body's rhythm. Frank Zappa. Rock and roll is pagan and primitive and very jungle, and that's how it should be. The moment it stops being those things, it's dead. The true meaning of rock is sex, subversion, and style. Spoken by Malcolm McLaren, who is the manager of punk rock groups. Rock music has got the same message as before. It is anti-religious, anti-nationalistic, and anti-morality. But now I understand what you have to do. You have to put the message across with a little honey on it. Spoken by John Lennon. Rock is the perfect primal method of releasing our violent instincts. Ted Nugent. Don't listen to the words. It's the music that has its own message. I've been stoned on the music many times. Timothy Leary, New Age guru and promoter of LSD. When you're in a certain frame of mind, particularly sexually oriented, there's nothing better than rock and roll because that's where most of the performers are at. Aerosmith's manager. Rock music is sex and you have to hit them, teenagers, in the face with it. Andrew Oldham, manager of the Rolling Stones. All right. Rock music is the strongest drug in the world. Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Rock and roll is sex. Real rock and roll isn't based on cerebral thoughts. It's based on one's lower nature. Paul Stanley from Kiss. Rock and roll marked the beginning of the revolution. We've combined youth, music, sex, drugs, and rebellion with treason. That's a combination hard to beat. Jerry Rubin. Pop music revolves around sexuality. I believe that if there's anarchy, let's make it sexual anarchy rather than political. Adam Ant. Living on the brink of disaster at all times is what rock and roll is about. Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon. Gimmicks are only part of the best way to sell rock and roll. Sex and style are crucial too. That's what kids want, so I'm determined to be sexy and stylish. Sex is really an exciting part of rock and roll. When I dance on stage, I dance to turn people on. When I'm dancing, I turn myself on as well. Dancing is a sexual thing to do, you know. Adam Ant. After 10 years of bland, brilliant music, we're back to what rock and roll should be. Nasty, crude, rebellious people's music. Tom Robinson, punk rocker. The main purpose of rock and roll is the celebration of the self. Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates. But now, good rockin' tonight, you know what that means. I had my mind on this girl in the bedroom. I'm not gonna lie to you. Listen, man, I wrote them kind of songs. I was a dirty cat. Roy Brown, composer of Good Rockin' Tonight in 1948. Rock and roll aims for liberation and transcendence, eroticizing the spiritual and spiritualizing the erotic, because that is its ecumenical birthright. Robert Palmer. Rock and roll is fun, it's full of energy, it's full of laughter, it's naughty. Tina Turner. Mystery and mischief are the two most important ingredients in rock and roll. Bono. Rock and roll was something that's hardcore, rough and wild and sweaty and wet and just loose. Patti LaBelle. Finally, sex, violence, rebellion, it's all part of rock and roll. John Mellencamp. So folks, that is the words of the people who make the music. That's the words of the people who more or less invented the music, going all the way back to early music back in the 1940s and early 50s. This is what the people say about their own music. They understand it. The world gets it. Why don't Christians get it? I was amazed there by what Little Richard said. And this is before he was a Christian. He's a Christian now. But he even admitted that rock music is of the devil's cup, and you can't drink of the devil's cup at the same time that you're drinking of God's cup. You can't do it. I don't think I have time here. I'm just going to read a couple of things written from some of the, spoken by some of the contemporary Christian musicians themselves about their musical preferences. The CCM group 7 Sevens says their musical influences are Led Zeppelin, the Beach Boys, Pearl Jam, and the Stone Temple Pilots. 7 Sevens performs the Led Zeppelin song Nobody's Fault But Mine on their Drowning with Land in Sight album. So here's an actual CCM group performing music by Led Zeppelin. Cattleman's Call says their greatest love in music is secular rock. They mentioned Indigo Girls, Sean Colvin, David Wilcox, The Police, Fishbone, and 10,000 Maniacs, and they often perform Beatles music in their concerts. Here's what I found was most interesting, is that a lot of these contemporary Christian groups will perform non-Christian rock songs. So you see, they're even blurring the line. We're saying Christian rock is good because it's Christian, because it's got a Christian meaning and Christian words and a Christian spirit about it. And yet the same groups are performing non-Christian songs openly. Jars of Clay names Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles as their inspiration. Jars of Clay also performs Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train during their concerts. A Christian group performs Ozzy Osbourne. There's something wrong with that. Point of Grace, on their Life, Love, and Other Mysteries album, recorded a song by Earth, Wind, and Fire, an extremely occultic and New Age group. The group Deliverance performs songs by secular rock groups. Their What a Joke album has the song After Forever by Black Sabbath. And finally, just one more, and I'll end this. Joel Taylor of the group Undercover says himself, I am not connected to Christian music at all. I can't stand Christian radio stations. Now, how can one be a Christian musician yet not like Christian music? Gotta make you wonder, what's in the minds of these people? All of them, their influences are non-Christian groups. Many of them never even listen to other Christian music. The only Christian music they make is their own, because they're making money off of that. And that's the whole point. Now, folks, even the people in the music industry of the world understand what their music is about. It's about sex, subversion, getting people to think a certain way. And like Timothy Leary said, it's got nothing to do with the words. The music itself has a whole meaning to it. So if you're interested in knowing where I got these quotes, just email me. I'll be happy to send it to you. But folks, you need to really listen to this stuff. This is serious stuff. The world gets it. The church doesn't. Think about it. God bless you. Have a nice day.